So let's go on with this series on modern myths. The next stupidity or modern myth is, of course, this idea that we are all born with equal potentials, that we can all become anything we want. The biggest lie ever perpetuated in the history of mankind. This gentleman, calling himself B.F. Skinner, said, and I quote, "Give me a child and I'll shape him into anything," unquote. Of course, this is an utter lie. What he meant to say was, give me a child and I'll brainwash him into serving any purpose, any social purpose. The biggest error is in assuming that the world of man is the world at large. And many people, when they speak about the world, they always have in mind the world of man, the artificial world, the institutionalized world. Whereas the world at large is a grander world in which the world of man persists and tries to carve out its place. What Skinner meant was that if he's given a child at birth, then he can shape him into any expertise, to be any cog in the machinery of the man-made world, because the man-made world requires only average intelligence. You don't need to be a genius to become a doctor. You need a slightly above average intelligence, but only slightly above. To be a good doctor, on the other hand, requires some genius. In the same way, to be a good engineer requires some genius, and to be a good physicist requires some genius, and to be a good philosopher requires some genius, and to be a good thinker overall requires genius. To be a mediocre member of these groups requires, of course, a mediocre mind. All you have to do is follow the recipes, the prerequisites, adhere to the rules, be advised by precedent, and do your job. In fact, you cannot be anything you want to be unless you just want to be average in any field you choose to be, to participate within. So when Skinner said these words, all he meant was that he could shape any child into any specialty if all that is required is an average performance. And of course, this is why females are now increasingly becoming part of the academic field, because all that's required now is to be mediocre, to follow the rules, to prescribe to the recipes, to follow and to not question, and never challenge. And now let's proceed to the next bullshit modern mythology. Love will save the world. Now this is a good one. In fact, all it states is that a sexually derived emotion will be the salvation of an entire species. And of course, if we think about it, love is only the means by which internal uniformity is established. Love is what eliminates all preconceptions, all prerequisites, all discriminations, all prejudices, all caution. It's a form of madness, and I think I've covered it in some other videos where it's a continuance of lust, which is a way of overcoming the fight or flight mechanism. So love is a continuance of this, and all it means is that it identifies the self with an abstraction. So you become not who you are, but you become something grander, quote unquote. The abstraction is always bigger than the self that is seduced by it. It always comes externally. It always offers the self a comforting, an escape, an advancement, hypothetical advancement, of course. It offers it a greater self with a capital S, so as to help it deal with the smaller self with a small s. And in order to come about the smaller s, the sense of self, the know thyself, has to be diminished. This is why many forms of the grander self, the grander ideal of self, always propose this elimination of nature, of identification with nature. We're not supposed to identify with our sex, with our race, with our heritage, with our culture. All we are supposed to identify with is our service to the present. Everything has to become part of the immediate. Everything has to come from the immediate, and everything has to draw value from the immediate. This is why materialism and hedonism are so popular in our time, because they are immediate. They offer an immediate gratification. There's no ambiguity in them. There's no postponement. There's no projection beyond the simple-minded, beyond the animal's ability to project. So they're always contained within an average. If it doesn't offer an immediate return, then it is worthless. If it doesn't offer us an immediate gratification, then it is not worth our time. So this grander self is always a more shallow abstraction of the self. The self must be cut away from its past, and it must be given a reference point within the immediate present. That is its servitude. This is why such labels as job labels or credentials become so important, because they are expressions of our immediate value to the others, and this is the only way we attain our identification. It must be always immediate, and it must be always pleasing. And here we get the two pillars of modernity, which is hedonism and materialism. And it's the basis of all modernity, all progressiveness, though it professes to be something beyond materialism. At its base, it's always based on materialism and hedonism, pleasure. If we're to interpret the world, then it must be pleasing, it must be gratifying immediately. So, if we're to accept something as being truth, then it must offer us an immediate gratification. And of course, the elimination of such labels as gender and race are immediately gratifying. Any idea or ideal that proposes a postponement of immediate gratification, which demands of us an investment beyond the limits of our perceptions, that is either too far back for us to appreciate because we don't really know ourselves, and looking back is a form of knowing yourself, or a projection forward based on this past knowledge, on this experience, either first hand or second hand, is deemed to be too ambiguous, too innocuous, too subtle, insufficient in our quest for immediate gratification. And if you study most of the modern ideologies and ideas and ideals, they always offer an immediate, flattering gratification. They are hedonistic to the core. They don't have to be materialistic. They could be spiritual or pretentiously so, just as long as they flatter the self, just as long as they offer the self a comfort, like the idea that if you change your perspective, you will be happy. This is an immediate gratification simply by changing your perspective, which requires very little effort. And we can see this in such ideas as those concerning the appreciation of beauty. So beauty becomes something mysterious, mystical, in order to make it something not applicable in the immediate, because in the immediate it's painful. So we making it something that's mysterious and mystical in order to avoid its immediate application. So we feel relieved in the immediate. We feel that no matter how we look, it doesn't matter, because some things such as the inside is what is more important. As if the outside and the inside are actually real places. As if mind and body are actual separations. The Cartesian dualism is still applicable here. It's an easy way of avoiding reality with an ideal. Now to the next issue. Always be wary of these internet shamans, these self-ascribed father figures, these leaders, offering you these recipes for salvation, these easy ways to escape your reality, to be more than what you are. Always be wary, because they always offer these broad, all-encompassing solutions to what ails you. Now, I, being somebody who doesn't give a shit either way, can only tell you the truth, since I don't really care for you following me or taking my advice, because I don't offer any advice. I just describe things. What you do with this description is up to you. But I have come across these internet advisors, these wannabe preachers. And I've noticed that they always offer these broad, nondescript, all-inclusive, one-size-fits-all solutions to every problem out there. Now, this is not the truth. Not only is not every problem able to be resolved in accordance to an ideal. All you can do is change your ideal. You can easily do that. This is called changing your perspective. Not only that is that not possible, but it doesn't always apply to all. You can't offer a blanket solution to a hypothetical problem, which is not really a problem except for the people you're trying to seduce with your solutions. Now, these people are usually people that thrive in the feedback, in appearing like they are more than what they truly are, in offering appeasement and comfort and leadership and guidance to people, wanting them to be their followers. Now, I am telling you now, I am no leader. You should fuck off while you get the chance if you're a weakling and a moron. And I don't even have to say that, because in the course of whatever I say here, which is nothing but a description, most of you will fuck off because you won't be able to take it. Because some of the things I say will not offer you a solution. They will be too harsh. For instance, the idea that you can't solve your past. You can't correct your past. If you're born a weakling and an imbecile, then there's really nothing to be done about it. You will have to come to terms with your stupidity and your imbecility and your weakness, and live the best life that you can. And I'm not here to preach to you. In fact, I want you to go away. To those that want you to stay as followers, then you can go elsewhere. I'm sure there are plenty of wannabe leaders out there offering you solutions, Jesus-like figures, giving you these harsh yet solvable ways out of a situation you don't fully understand, but they sort of describe for you, and you feel because they describe it for you that they also have the solutions for it. And I'm telling you up front that I don't have a solution for you. I have a solution for me. This is true, and I found a solution for me. But you are another case. You are not me. You can never be me, and nor can I ever be you. So I can never offer you a solution. All I can do is describe the situation. If you seek a solution, then you should go to those who offer it, those who want to be your leaders, those who want to dominate you, and who want you to follow them, and who want you to seek their advice, and who want you to flatter them. I am not it. I am an elitist. That means if you're an imbecile or a weakling, you should go away. I have no interest in you or your salvation or your comfort or your happiness or anything that you do or think or suffer or say. I have no interest in it, not because I'm mean, just because I don't give a shit. I have enough issues of my own to deal with. So why am I doing these little YouTube snippets? Well, I'm doing them because it's a form of expression for me, and it's a form of contacting those who are like me. I like to think that those who are like me are the 1%, the upper 1%, but I might be wrong. Nevertheless, I'm only giving you a description of the world as it is, or as I see it. If you're looking for quick, easy steps to get laid, to be happy, to be a man, to be a woman, to be this, to be that, then you should go elsewhere. There's plenty of people out there offering you these solutions. My philosophy is this: if you haven't figured out things on your own, then you should go fuck yourself. If by the age of 30 you don't know what's going on, then you're none of my business. You should die. Preferably for me, you should never procreate and pass on your genes. You should just die and be done with. You deserve none of my help, and I will not offer you any of my help. I already have a child who I'm helping, and I don't really need another child or other children out there to aid. I'm looking for contact with people of my kind in this world of stupidity, and this is another reason why I'm doing this. But I'm not looking for followers or for people who want my help or for people who want my guidance. You can all go to hell. I really am not here to offer you these solutions like go exercise and eat well and here's a game manual on how to get laid. That's all bullshit. Whoever offers you this shit is a liar. I can guarantee you this, because it has more to do about your more to do than just about your gamemanship or your attitude. There's much more at play here, and some of what is at play here is not self-flattering, and it cannot be dealt with just dismissing it. It could be somehow compensated for, but it cannot be fully corrected. So this idea that I can teach you a method, an attitude, a demeanor, a strategy, a tactic, is all bullshit. Whoever tells you that is a liar. Whoever gives you that, he sells you this idea that he can teach you how to be like them, for instance. He talks to you and says, this is how you can be like me. He's a bullshitter. He's a wannabe. He's a fake. He's a salesman. He's seducing you. And that is a fact.